This is Scott Spears, and the Miss USA pageant 2012 has been talked about more this week than any pageant in recent memory. One for an answer Miss Ohio gave to a question, and the other caused by Miss Pennsylvania, which we'll get into here in just a second. Here to help us sort it all out, a journalist who has covered the Miss USA and Miss America pageants close up and on the inside in the 5 years they have called Las Vegas home, but you will probably remember him best as the host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Robin Leach. Before we get to Robin, I want to recount the story with Miss Ohio very quickly here. When answering a question about how women are portrayed in movies, Audrey Bolt, Miss Ohio, used Julia Roberts' character in Pretty Woman as an example of a positive role model. Roberts played a prostitute in that movie. I'm going to stick with my answer, Miss Ohio said. I feel very confident in the way I answered it. I felt I had 30 seconds on live TV, and I felt I answered it the best way that I could at the moment. Bolt said the media likes to take what is said out of context. For the record, I do not feel that prostitutes are role models. That was not the question. Those words were not ever out of my mouth. I feel the movie I gave is an example of a movie that shows inaccurate and accurate roles of women in movies. Because at the end of the movie, she turned out to be a wonderful, well-rounded woman. Robin Leach, welcome to the program.
That Donald Trump, he's always in the middle of controversy.
Robin, what do you think, before we get to Miss Pennsylvania, which heavens knows that's where Donald Trump's got involved, what do you think about what Miss Ohio said?
Well, I think she's now eating her words. It was a very strange and bizarre answer. And the young lady, who was a very polished and very professional woman, and a good role model in her own right for young girls, I think she confused something that was in her mind. And, you know, it is a terrifying thought that when you're up there in front of, I don't know, 6-7 million people on live television, your mind goes blank and you struggle to find the movie for the example to give with your answer. Why that movie came into her mind when there are so many other movies, I have no idea. But she could have selected a dozen different movies. I think the point that she was trying to make was that the woman in Pretty Woman, played by Julia Roberts, was a strong character in a movie, but she missed the point of it because the woman in the end portrayed by Julia Roberts was a high-class call girl who was doing the bidding of Richard Gere and his money. That is not a role model. It may be a role model to be strong, it may be a role model to be forceful, but she picked the wrong character in the wrong movie.
Robin, you said you thought she was eating her words. I'm not sure. She seems to be standing by it now. She's come out and said, you know, I feel very confident in the way I answered it.
Well, the blessing is that we live in a free country and that she is entitled to her opinion, but I can assure you that when she said it, the entire audience in the theater at Planet Hollywood, it didn't utter a collective intake of air, but there was an uncomfortable rustling in the chairs that she had used a movie that was about a high-class call girl to illustrate the example of a role model. High-class call girls are not role models.
You know, and Robin, just when we thought it couldn't get any stranger, as the week went on, another story broke, and I'll recount this for the audience now, in probably a much stranger story. In a resignation announcement, this year's Miss Pennsylvania USA said she felt compelled to turn in her crown. Effective immediately, I have voluntarily, completely, and utterly removed myself from the Miss Universe organization, beauty queen Sheena Manin posted on Facebook. In good conscience, I can no longer be affiliated in any way with an organization I consider to be fraudulent, lacking in morals, inconsistent, and in many ways trashy. Monin27 alleged that Sunday's Miss USA competition, which is run by the Miss Universe organization, was fixed. She said she had evidence that the top 5 contestants were selected in advance of Sunday's show. I witnessed another contestant who said she saw the list of the top 5 before the show ever started, proceeded to call out in order who the top 5 were before they were announced on stage, Miss Pennsylvania wrote on Facebook on Tuesday. After it was indeed the top 5, I knew the show must be rigged. I decided at that moment to distance myself from an organization who did not allow fair play and whose morals did not match my own. In a statement, the Miss Universe organization dismissed Miss Pennsylvania's allegations as false and said Miss Pennsylvania told pageant officials she was resigning for a different reason, because she did not agree with the organization's recent decision to admit transgender contestants. Well, as you said, Donald Trump couldn't help but get in on this, being his pageant. Donald Trump jumped in. She made a very false charge, and she knows it was a false charge, the business magnate said Wednesday on Good Morning America, referring to Miss Pennsylvania. I think that, frankly, she should apologize, but we will be bringing a lawsuit against her. I don't think that she had an issue with that, he said of the pageant's transgender policy. I think her primary issue was that she lost, and she's angry about losing, and frankly, in my opinion, I saw her for barely a second, and she didn't deserve to be in the top 15. I know. And then
the typical Donald broadside.
Well, it got better, though. Miss Pennsylvania had 24 hours to retract her claim, or Donald was going to sue her, seeking massive damages. Well, before I called Robin up tonight, I checked the internet. Miss Pennsylvania did not apologize, and Donald Trump's attorneys say he is drafting a lawsuit. Time's up, as they say. Robin, what happened here?
Here's my analysis of it. One, she was a bitter lady. 2, she had every right to her opinion and decision to resign over the transgender issue. That's totally her business, her call. Again, it's a free country. She can do what she likes. The allegation that this beauty pageant is rigged or vote fixed is such a balloon of hot air. It is so false. It is so untrue. It is so unlikely. Let me just walk you through the process. First of all, there is a judging panel that spends a full day with each of the girls in the Miss USA contest midweek before the Sunday night pageant. Those judges vote in sealed envelopes to an accounting company, a prestigious accounting company, and it is from the vote tallies, where each girl is graded on points, that they determine the top 15 finalists. Those top 15 finalists are opened, the envelopes are opened with the names of the top 15 as the show starts. So nobody knows except the judges who did the preliminary judging. At that point, the new celebrity panel takes over from the earlier judges, and they vote in the same way with electronic computer buttons on the cut from 15 down to 10, and then they re-vote again on the cut from 10 to 5, and then they re-vote again on the 5 based on the final question that gets asked and answered. I have been a judge at Miss Universe. There is absolutely no impropriety. There is no suggestion. There is no nudge to vote for one girl over another. It just doesn't work that way. I always ask the question after the new Miss USA is crowned, did the judges pick the right girl as far as the organizers were concerned? And the answer is always the same every year. It's the judges' pick. We have nothing to do with it. So Miss Pennsylvania is way out of line with these allegations. They are totally untrue. It couldn't be rigged. It couldn't be fixed. So I just think that she got herself so worked up over this business of resigning because of the transgender issue that she made the wild allegation, and the girl that she named who allegedly had seen the top 5 list, which never existed in the first place, then said to the Miss Universe organizers that she'd never ever said that in the first place to the girl.
You know, Robin, what's peculiar about this is that, and I don't know the inner workings of beauty pageants, but what's peculiar to me is that Miss Pennsylvania would put this on her Facebook page after she sent the email to Miss Universe saying that she resigned because of the addition of transgender people to the competition. When she put that on her Facebook page, did she think people wouldn't see it? I mean, what happened?
I obviously don't know what was going through her mind, but I think a lot of people do things in this day and internet age that they quickly regret afterwards. They do not think that things can go viral. They do not think in advance of the implications of what they say. They certainly don't know the difference between libel, slander, and just making a joke or putting it on Facebook. So, look, a girl who has spent a year dreaming of a shot at this title can be very emotionally overwrought when she does not move forward in the top 15. It is a very debilitating moment for some women, young ladies who cannot handle that kind of pressure. And you know, the thing that you always have to remember is that if you are a reigning state pageant queen, you've already won to a certain extent. This girl won and was Miss Pennsylvania. She should have just accepted gracefully the fact that there were other people deemed by the judges more worthy than her to wind up in the top 15.
Well, Robin, again, something else peculiar, because you said it there, people don't realize what they're putting out there that will go viral. But when Donald Trump gave her 24 hours to apologize, certainly she knew that it had went viral and that she was going to be sued if she didn't apologize. At that point, if the proof is at the Miss Universe office in the email that she sent, which obviously she would know, why didn't she apologize?
I think you'll find that an apology will be forthcoming.
How quick, Robin, do you think?
Well, it may not meet Donald's 24-hour deadline, but I think it will certainly be forthcoming when Dear Ma'am comes from a legal firm in New York.
Well, you know, she says she has proof. That's a weird allegation to make, too.
The proof, let's analyze what she said as proof. Her proof is only the remark of another contestant. It is hearsay, and the other contestant has since refuted the fact that she ever said anything to Miss Pennsylvania in the first place.
Robin, what do you make of Donald Trump's statement that not that he is going to sue, because certainly I think most people would think that's on the level at this point, but that he attacks her, that she is not good looking, basically, that she shouldn't have made the top. He couldn't see why she would make the top 15. Why does he do that?
That's Donald Trump. The mouth moves faster than the brain moves.
You know, I think
it was an unnecessary and uncharitable thing to say, but it's a typical Donald remark. And when his business is threatened, when his integrity is threatened, he fires back immediately. You get what you expect to get from Donald. He's not going to mince words. He doesn't play games. He tells it to you straight like it is.
Robin, do you have a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
I know the man very well.
Now, and I'm not saying it, but some might say that maybe that has clouded your opinion here.
No. I mean, why would it?
Because you were friends with him, I guess most would say. Is there any truth to that?
No, I mean, I see Mr. Trump when he comes to Las Vegas to do his pageants once every year. So I don't think, I mean, friends, I think, see each other more than once a year on a business matter, don't they?
I would agree with that. The last question I have for you, Robin, is something somebody brought up to me today, and I haven't seen this on any national media, but kind of the way these two things work together, Miss Ohio and Miss Pennsylvania. She claimed that it was fixed. How was it, even though that Miss Ohio answered this question so strangely after she was already in the top 5, but how did she make it to the top 5? Obviously, being overwhelmed by the whole situation, which I think she was at some point.
Again, I explained the process to you, and the question is not the all-defining measure of voting. The overall performance through the night is the measure of the voting. So, although Miss Ohio answered this question strangely and perhaps incorrectly, she is voted on the overalls, which explains how she got into the top 5. So up until that point, she'd impressed the judges. So it was only when she answered that question that she obviously slipped down in their opinion.
So the Robin Leach prediction is in some time, Miss Pennsylvania will apologize.
I'm convinced.
Well, Robin, I thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. You're a great guy and really gave us an insight there that I think we wouldn't have. I just want to ask you one more thing. Can you sign us off today?
Absolutely. Despite the controversy with the pageant princesses, there's still champagne wishes and caviar dreams.